The film begins with a young girl named Jules waking up her parents in the dead of night to tell them that someone is on the roof. Her mom, assuming she might be half asleep, tells her to return to bed. However, Jules insists she heard something. Her mom walks her back to her room and assures her that everything is okay before tucking her back into bed. The mother then goes downstairs and notices that the front door is unlocked. She locks it and goes back upstairs, scolding her husband for forgetting to lock it. Not long after, Jules hears some sounds again and quietly sneaks downstairs to see Santa in their living room. She tries to wake her brother John, but he ignores her. Curious, Jules hides nearby to watch Santa. Suddenly, she sees Santa pulling out an axe and heading upstairs. Jules listens in terror as Santa, who is actually Art, brutally murders her brother with the axe. Then he heads to her parents' room and violently starts attacking her father with the axe. Her mom wakes up to the horror and attempts to flee. She runs to Jules's room and finds it empty. She screams and rushes to John's room, only to see her son's mutilated body. Realizing it's too late, she runs downstairs in a desperate attempt to escape, but Art catches her and brutally kills her. Afterward, Art hears a noise at the kitchen cabinet and finds Jules hiding. He greets her with a sinister grin, and the scene immediately cuts to 5 years earlier. Here, we see a police officer investigating a crime scene. Suddenly, he finds Art's decapitated body lying on the ground. As the officer surveys the area, Art's headless body attacks him. The officer fires his weapon, but the bullets have no effect. Art then uses the officer's severed head as a makeshift head for his own. Elsewhere, at a nearby mental hospital, a security guard hears screams and goes to investigate while calling for backup. He approaches the source of the noise and is horrified to see Art's head and Vicky devouring a nurse. Nearby, Art's headless body suddenly appears and waves at him. Not long after, Vicky attacks him, and Art finishes him off by tearing off his face. Later, Art and Vicky return to their hideout building. Art goes to his room, rocking back and forth in a chair. Both then enter a dormant state that lasts for 5 years. Right here, you have to wonder, is Art still acting alone? Or is something far worse already guiding him? In the present day, Sienna Shaw moves in with her Aunt Jess, who lives with her husband Greg and their daughter Gabby. Upon arriving, Gabby hugs Sienna tightly and begs her never to leave again, to which Sienna promises she won't. Meanwhile, 2 supervisors arrive at Art's abandoned hideout building to inspect it before selling it to the state. One is startled by the infestation of rats, but the other dismisses it as harmless. His partner comments that the house feels saturated with angry spirits waiting to be released. Suddenly, one supervisor spots a flickering light and discovers Art sitting motionless, covered in cobwebs. The other stumbles upon Vicky submerged in black liquid in the bathtub. As he tries to take a photo, she suddenly wakes and brutally stabs him in the neck. In the other room, Art springs to life and kills the other supervisor by cutting his head open, while Vicky watches with weird satisfaction. Elsewhere, Sienna sits down to dinner with her aunt, uncle, and cousin. Suddenly, Sienna experiences a vision of her deceased friend Brooke, who taunts her. Brooke bitterly blames Sienna, saying that she died because of her, accusing Sienna and her brother of leading Art to them. Overwhelmed, Sienna excuses herself and goes to her room. Next, we see Jonathan entering his college dorm room to find his friend Nicole and his girlfriend Mia making out. Mia tells Jonathan she's a big fan of his, noting that very few people survive encounters with Art. She invites him onto her podcast, explaining that many people would want to hear his story. Jonathan hesitates, unsure if he's ready to revisit such trauma. At that moment, Sienna calls him. She tells him how much she misses him, and Jonathan admits he feels the same. Elsewhere, Art constructs new weapons using a fire extinguisher and nitrogen. Later, a man dressed as Santa is drinking at a bar with friends, posing for photos with some women. After they leave, Art notices Santa through the window and becomes excited, realizing he's found the perfect disguise. He enters the bar carrying a black bag. The bartender asks what's in the bag, and Art pulls out a horn, causing everyone to laugh. Santa asks the bartender to give Art a drink, but as Art takes a shot, he suddenly spits it in Santa's face, enraging him. As if that wasn't gross enough, He urinates on Santa, causing Santa to throw a punch. As tensions rise, Art quickly pulls out a gun and kills Santa's two friends. Terrified, Santa begs for mercy, but Art is incapable of having mercy. He puts on the Santa suit while the real Santa is tied to a chair. He sprays his new nitrogen weapon on him. Then he uses his hammer to bash open Santa's legs, hands, and face, all while Santa screams in pain. Later, at a mall, children line up for photos with Santa while Sienna and Gabby shop for Jonathan's gift. Suddenly, Sienna sees Art, dressed as Santa, walking by and waving at her. But soon Gabby calls her attention, and when she looks again, Art is gone. She quickly calls Jonathan, and they agree to meet. As they talk, Cole, Jonathan's rookie, appears and introduces himself to Sienna, mentioning he's heard a lot about her. Mia joins them, surprised to see Sienna. Mia expresses interest in interviewing Sienna about how she's coping, but Sienna angrily responds that she's tormented daily by visions of her dead loved ones. She reveals she's covered in scars, constantly reminded of how Art destroyed their lives. She explodes in frustration, accusing everyone of being the same and questioning why no one shows basic humanity. Jonathan calls her aside and asks what's wrong, and Sienna confesses she believes she saw Art at the mall. Jonathan doubts her, reminding her that Art was decapitated. However, they soon agree that if Art is really back, he may have help. Sienna insists they must destroy Vicky, claiming she's demonic. She tells Jonathan that Art is using Vicky as his host and that she must retrieve their father's sword. At this point, ask yourself, is Vicky controlling Art, or has Art become something far beyond human? Meanwhile, at the mall, Art hands dolls to children. However, a mall employee realizes he's not the real Santa. As security drags him out, a kid opens a gift bag he gave him, unaware it contains a bomb. Suddenly, the mall explodes, killing a lot of people nearby. Back at her uncle's house, Sienna places a wrapped object under the Christmas tree, but Gabby notices her and asks if it's for her. Sienna tells her it's not for her, and that she should stay clear of it. Later, while playing with Gabby, Sienna learns about the mall explosion, allegedly caused by a clown dressed as Santa. This news devastates her, and she begs her uncle to bring Jonathan over. Greg agrees and goes to look for Jonathan. Later, Greg arrives at Jonathan's school, but can't find him. When he attempts to call him, Jonathan tells him he'll be right outside in a jiffy, but something doesn't sound right with his voice. In the next scene, Sienna dreams of her father and the angels creating her warrior angel costume and the sword. She then wakes up to discover that Art and Vicky have invaded her house. As she tries to run, Art attacks her and incapacitates her with a mace. When Sienna regains consciousness, she sees her uncle nailed to the wall like a poster, with his head on top of the Christmas tree, and Jess tied up in front of her. Art shows them a present of Jonathan's head being eaten by mice, completely mutilated. They scream in agony. Vicky mocks Sienna and puts a crown of thorns on her head, just as Art drags Gabby to the living room, and she screams as she sees the mutilated body of her mother. Vicky then tries to possess Sienna, but she resists. As Art tries to kill Gabby, she requests to give Sienna her Christmas gift as her last wish. Gabby points to the wrapped objects Sienna had hidden earlier, and they oblige. They give Sienna the gift to unwrap, and it turns out to be his father's sword. In one swift move, she cuts Art's neck and chops off the head of Vicky. Art attacks Sienna with his chainsaw, and a brutal fight begins. With time, she gains the upper hand and pins Art to the wall with her sword. Meanwhile, Vicky's blood burns the ground and creates a burning hole, causing Gabby to fall and grab the edge. Sienna leaves Art and rushes to save her. She tries to rescue her by telling her to grab the sword so she can pull her up with it. But Gabby eventually falls into the abyss, along with the sword. Art escapes through a window, and Sienna's wounds begin to heal, revealing she is indeed the chosen one. The film ends at a bus station. Art boards a bus with only a woman and the driver. The lady becomes scared of Art as he stares blankly at her. Suddenly, he grins and honks his horn. So what do you think? Is Art truly immortal now? Or was he never human to begin with? Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with a friend. Because misery loves company.